you can criticize me for taking James in Arizona's calls because you don't want to talk to him because he's a challenging caller.
No, he's abusive.
Well, it's just because he says things you don't like?
He's threatening. No,
he hasn't threatened you. He beats around the bush.
He beats around the bush on threatening. I don't need that in my life. I don't need somebody who's angry all the time and abusive and threatening.
Well, I'll still take James's calls because this is an open phone show.
I'd talk to him.
This is an open phone show where anyone can call in, and there are very few rules on that.
Reward a-holes, you'll get a-holes.
James, you're on Free Talk Live.
Well, speaking of a-holes, thanks for taking me on, Minister Freeman. I grieve for the innocent children and women that were droned to death during what Mark Edgington called a legitimate terrorist attack on the Pentagon. And speaking of modern, there were women and children in that plane that flew into the Pentagon.
I don't think he called it legitimate. What are you talking about? What does that even mean?
He absolutely positively did call it legitimate terrorist attack on another day on another show of Free Talk Live.
All right, I'll have to take your word for it because Mark apparently won't bother responding.
I don't lie. You can take my word for it. That's for sure. You can take my word for it. Ian, every time I call into Free Talk Live, I don't lie or disparage anybody unless they have it coming. May I continue?
Go right ahead.
Speaking of, by the way, the modern-day jihadist terrorists that are waging a warpath across the Levant, Ian, that have murdered and raped and destroyed Sunni mosques or Shiite mosques, even their competitors in Iraq, they have yet to confront one American soldier. But how anybody like Minister Edgington can say we created them is an offense to me and anybody that has any morals or religious
I didn't create anybody, and I thank you for the call tonight and the opinion at 855-450-FREE. I think what you
so
what
when
he
he's suggesting that we created them, is he talking about the fact that like people might react to their families being bombed since the 60s?
I think he was,
and their children being blown to bits in front of them, that they might retaliate and attack America. Is that what he means by creating them?
I think that's what he might have been getting at there.
I mean, I don't know if we literally created them, but I mean, I'm sure bombing people's families might have that reaction. I don't know if it's 100%.
Or you
correlation is not causation, but.
Or you could point out the U.S. government has funded groups like Al-Qaeda and Saddam Hussein in the
right,
in
or
the past.
Like how we're going to be training Syrians here, and then we'll be fighting them in a war in 10 years. But no, I mean it's not. We're not causing these things. I mean, obviously, we're not creating these terrorists by funding them and arming them.
I am not funding anyone. I just like to remind you, and that's why
I use the we.
Yeah, I don't. It's a real pet peeve of mine when people say we did this and we did that. Now, maybe James and Arizona would fund the military and have them go and kill people in his name.
He would. I'm sure he would.
I personally am not interested in funding killings, and nor am I interested in funding imprisoning peaceful people, and so I won't pay for it.
Yeah, I as far as I'm concerned, blowback is quite a well-documented reaction. And if you really think that people in the Middle East aren't reacting to the United States' foreign policy, you think they're dogs.
They just hate us for our freedom, Mark.
Right. Well, because
they hate us because of pop music and rock and roll.
You know how the people in the U.S. would react if some foreign power decided to come over here and rule over us. It would be a guerrilla war to the very last of them.
When they weigh the issues and they go, well, half of my family was just blown to bits, or, well, in the United States, they just had these nude pictures, and it's all over the pop media because these celebrities are exposed by nude. Well, that just makes me so much more mad. My family being blown to bits is the minor issue.
Yeah.
These Americans need to be stopped because there's naked pictures of celebrities on the internet. They are just despicable people, these Americans. I mean, really, like... why? I still don't understand how ill-informed people are just able to just walk around with this, like, just, I hate us for our freedom. I'm just completely ignorant of everything in the world. Like, how do people live in such a cloud of ignorance?
For one thing, they think that U.S. foreign policy started on September the 11th, 2001.
Right.
That nothing occurred, that there wasn't 5 decades worth of U.S. intervention in the Middle East up to that point. And,
nothing precipitated the attacks. just out of the blue.
Right.
The quotes.
How'd that happen?
I'm looking at a page of quotes here from Osama bin Laden, him talking about his upset with the U.S.'s governments being all cozy with the Saudi Arabian government.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.